to a new mini series, and this time we're going to have a look at something that's bugged me for a while, and that is, are grapes profitable? I tried to do this as a single video and it became very long, so it's perfect for a mini series. I think we are just going to farm grapes in isolation to see if they are profitable on their own. I'm on the Western Wilds, which is maybe not the most exciting map from a visual point of view, but it gives us a nice big plot of land for £79,000. It's fairly flat and open, so I can make use of Courseplay for doing some of this work. And so that's why I've gone for the Western Wilds. And as I say, we are literally just going to farm grapes. We are on start from scratch. I am going to set the economic difficulty to normal because that's how I usually play. And I should have edited this bit out, but I'll use it to talk over with what I plan to do. I had a bit of a funny with the terrain editor going on. Yeah, so we're on start from scratch. So we have starting with 500,000 euros at the moment because I didn't change the currency from the last video I was recording. And we have as part of that, we have a 200,000 euro loan. So I'm not sure if we'll be able to borrow any more. We might be able to, but my plan is so we've brought the plot of land. I have the free landscaping mod on because landscaping is stupidly expensive in FS. I just want to clear away all of the scrubland that's here. This plot that I've picked doesn't have any trees or anything in the way. And then I'm going to buy the basic kit that I want. So we're going to get ourselves kind of everything we need to care for grapes. So we're going to get a little tractor. We're going to get the mulcher, the subsoiler, the pruner. I'm going to buy a solid fert spreader rather than a liquid fert spreader just because it's cheaper and will be a bit faster. So there might be a bit of a cost difference there. When it comes to harvest, I'm going to lease the harvester and the trailer for that. So we'll set aside, or try and make sure I keep enough. Now, I think I might have screwed this up slightly later on, and I'll talk about it when we get there. I'm going to try and set aside enough to lease the harvester and the trailer, and hopefully all of the rest of our expenses will be minimal. The bit that I've forgotten is loan interest, which we are going to have to pay. So that might mean we have to borrow a tiny bit, but essentially what I want to see, I'm probably going to, because this should be quite quick, because we have nothing else to deal with. So it's going to be a case of we're going to put the vines in today and get everything brought. Next video we'll probably do the mulching and the subsoiling and the fertilizing, depending on how long all those jobs take. Then we'll harvest and repeat, and I'll do it for maybe 2 or 3 years. So I'm just putting grass meadow down just so it looks sort of nice. Which is why I didn't really want to pay for the landscaping. Yeah, I'll do it for 2 or 3 years probably. I'm not sure at the moment. It's a mini series, so we'll see how long it runs. And yeah, I just want to see if we can make money from grapes. I know, before people jump in the comments, because I did have this when I was trying to mess around before, there are lots of mods which make things easier with grapes. There's the one that lets you put the vines in free. There are ones that mess around with the sell price and stuff for grapes. I just want to see with base game how Giants have set it up. Are grapes profitable? I will, when we get the harvest, I'll try and remember to do the math so that if we put it through a production as to whether we would have made a lot more. Because it's the Western Wilds, it does have the train sell point, which pays more. I am intentionally not going to use that because that's going to artificially inflate the income. So we're just going to use the normal sell point on here for that. Yeah, so that's kind of the spiel. I'm going to put a couple of sheds in. The nice thing about using the Western Wilds is it comes with a whole bunch of sort of older, fairly cheap buildings. This little bit here is part of our plot of land, and it seems perfect for a yard. I'm guessing that that's what it's intended for because it fits these sheds really nicely. And we're going to put 2 of them in. They're only £5 a pop, and just going to give us somewhere to store the few implements we're going to need. I'm going to buy some solid fertilizer, so we're set for that to get us through to harvest. So that's that bit done. I guess now we should look at buying some kit. So I have not done huge amounts with grapes, so I'm not the most up on, the different implements and stuff. But I have picked out a tractor, the Same Golden. It's a mod. It's pretty cheap. I didn't actually look to see if any of the DLC tractors were a similar cheapness, but hey, if we become a grape millionaire, we will get ourselves a mini quad track. Don't think that's going to happen. But 40 grand with a front 3-point, because the pruner, I think, generally runs on the front. So that's that done. Grape technology. So we do want a pruner. I do have some mods installed. Because I'm a grumpy, slightly funny old man, I do not have the SMI grape mod pack installed because of the faff they created, because their really complicated mods are less popular than a bus or whatever it was. And they changed to charging people before they would even develop mods. So not using SMI's mods. But we are using the Fernando Hughes Vineyard pack, which I don't think is an SMI mod, as I rant away. I'm just kind of browsing at the moment. I wasn't sure what size implements I needed to run between the vines. So I end up going into the handy feature that Giants has in FS22 in the packs, and going into the grape pack. And so they have the TMC Canceller and the Agrasim. So I think I could have probably saved a little bit of money. No, actually, they're pretty much the same price. I'm just going to get the base game one, because then I know it's the right one. And the same with the subsoiler, so the Agrasim. So that most of our crop stuff we need for grapes, we do need something for fertilizer. Now the purists will be going for the specialized grape liquid fertilizer spreaders. So I'm not sure if I go and look at them yet. So in here, so you've got the Hardy one, and you've got the Hungus, yeah, and they're quite expensive. But I do know, so there's a manure spreader for vineyards, a mod one, so a really narrow manure spreader. But I'm going to go for a solid fertilizer spreader, just to make the job a little bit quicker, basically. And we've got the Lizard Lancer 600 Pro. It's only 900 litres and 18 metre spread width, but it's quite narrow, so it should fit nicely behind the tractor. That's why I've gone for that one, basically, because obviously we need to fit down between the vines. So normally I would go for like the Sulky X50, the 50 meter spreader. We could have probably just driven down one side of the vines that we put in, and that would have done it in one pass. But it probably would have destroyed the little tractor that we have. So yeah, I am buying a smallish front weight as well, so that we can balance out the weight of some of the bigger implements on the back. It actually looks freaking huge on this little tractor. I hadn't used this tractor before, but I just kind of like the look of it when it was released, so I have been keeping an eye on it. I've been planning to do this test quite a long time. So I did, I think, fairly early last year, I started going through the process. And I think I might have even got to harvest on there, but I was doing it on a different map. I had two smaller sets of vines, and I had not allowed room for things like horseplay to turn. It was just quite a long process, and it was very clear it wouldn't have worked as a single video. But this mini series concept, I think, is perfect for doing this. And yeah, and I think quite a lot of people do grapes, but they do them amongst other farming. FVF did a series early on that his kind of main thing, I think, was growing grapes. working, but he was doing lots of other bits, and he had animals and all sorts of other things. And that doesn't isolate whether you can make money from growing grapes or not. So that's what we're going to do in this mini series. I think I know the answer. Some of you may already know the answer, but I thought it was handy to document it in, you know, a few episodes. I don't know how well it will be watched, but, you know, I make the videos that I want to make, and hopefully you guys enjoy them. That's always been pretty much what I've done for 90% of my videos. At this point, we'll say thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members. Appreciate you guys all supporting the channel. Yeah, it's I think this is going to be... this might be less popular than Ohio was. Ohio did really well. That was a lot of fun to record. I haven't released the last episode of that yet. It is poised for tomorrow. I'm going to get from the farm supply pack. Yes, farm supply pack again. They have really cheap fertilizer. So as with all the other things, €1,000 or pounds or dollars for 5,000 liters, which is clearly significantly cheaper than the base game. So that's probably the only thing that I've done that's a little bit not, you know, legit in terms of costs. And yes, super strength is going to be used on here because that's the only thing I needed something to be able to move pallets for. The delivery company that delivered it put it in the shed for me. So we've got two options, and I'm going to go for the one that the modded one that Giants released. So it's going to cost us probably 12, 14, 15 grand to lease the harvester, depending on how long it takes to harvest. And then we need the grape specific trailer, which is actually under grape technology. And depending on which trailer we hire, let's look at the most expensive one. That's going to cost us a couple of grand. So we probably want to sit on about 20 grand before remembering, because I forgot, loan interest. But, you know, anyway, it's time to build some vines. So, yeah, the plan is to put in as many as I can whilst keeping about 20 grand in the bank for harvest costs, because then we'll have crop that we can sell and go forward. I wanted to try and run these straight, and they didn't seem to want to snap to an angle. So what I'm going to do is very quickly, after a bit of faffing, I'm just going to paint down a square of blank terrain so that I can see where 90 degrees is. And we also have the problem that they can't be put in August. So we're just going to skip ahead to March when they can be planted. Sorry, I needed some coffee. It's quite early still. Recording the voiceover before work. But yeah, we're going to use Easy Dev to just skip ahead until March. Just to save a bit of time, because there's nothing for me to do in that intervening 7 months. So if I'd been more organised when I started recording this, I'd have done that beforehand, but I didn't. So cut me some slack. It's I actually pivoted on the map I was going to use right at the last minute. I was going to go back on Angevin countryside, because that was the map I did it on the first time. And again, I was coming up against the same problem. I couldn't find a nicely priced plot of land that would give me plenty of room to make use of course play and lay out the vines in a fairly nice, simple arrangement. So yeah, we end up on the Western Wilds again, you know, which obviously has some fond memories of me destroying Kartek at competitive multiplayer. So yeah, we could run these quite long, but I decide to go for rows. Don't know what the proper term is. That are about £15,000 or euros. So I'm playing this on the latest update at 1.9, and so far it seemed to be fine. I'm actually noticing as I'm watching back that I'm not having any flickering. They did not mention that in any of the update notes, but I've been really curious to jump into one of my other saves where I do have issues with trees flickering and see if they've done anything with that they haven't mentioned. I've also updated all my NVIDIA drivers in the last day, so that might change things as well, I guess. But going forwards, these videos are probably going to be a mix of time lapse, like the Ohio videos, and more like this. And basically, because I want to keep them again to about probably 10 minutes each, 5-10 minutes. They make a really nice short video to finish producing. The amount of time it takes me to play the game is less of a concern. It's more the editing and commentating and stuff like that. So yeah, these will probably be about 5-10 minutes. The plan will be like Ohio as well. They'll kind of be bonus videos through the week, and I kind of ended up with that having a fairly set schedule that they would come out on a Wednesday and a Saturday morning. And this may end up falling into that. We'll see how it goes as the series progresses and how long it takes. So the reason that I'm doing long-ish single rows is that I think courseplay will work better with those. And the key with courseplay and things like grapes is making sure that they're all attached to each other. I do have a video on that from a long time ago when that feature was added to courseplay. So yeah, you need to make sure that they're all joining up to each other properly. So placing the first one where it snaps to, like that, and then keeping it in a straight line along the existing ones. These don't look like they're quite running at not at 0 degrees, but I think it'll be close enough. So we're getting a decent sized vineyard here. Now, vines are pretty expensive to place. And that's possibly why I've not done much with them. I had planned to do grapes on Greenlands on my £10 million debt challenge. But I kind of decided for two reasons I wouldn't. One, they're quite time consuming. And B, I'm not sure there's any money in it, which is why we're doing this test. So we've got 19 grand left in the bank. That is all of the vines placed, and that is pretty much all we're going to do today. So thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this, click the like button. Comments, questions, suggestions, predictions below, and I will see you next time on the Western Wilds.